this is the MuffinMan, and welcome back to the MuffinMan Express. Today, we are going to be exploring a new strategy I have found in Wargame, and it is called, or I call it, the Combined Arms strategy. You can use it with almost any deck, but I recommend only using this strategy with either a US deck or a Nato deck, which is international. So anyways, we're just going to examine our enemy here. And we got some Matshutsun, some AGS. This guy, he didn't have a bad start out. So we're going to play. And that's a Fuchs, of course. Durs is with me. So, just as a thing to notice, this guy had no recon. That's pretty bad. He might have recon over here, though. No, he has absolutely no recon, except for this helicopter. So there's a napalm thrower there going into action. My Vulcan CSs are going into action. My Fuchs is going into action. The idea of the combined arms tactic or strategy is to have suppressive, and kill capable units all combined together. So we got IFVs, we got anti-air, we got CEVs, and Leopard 2s. It's infantry, mechanized, it's everything. It's just all combined together to kill shit. So as we can see here, these CSs, they also shoot tanks. And look, optical failure, and it's stunned. And now we see we have Erix. Erix is moving up. Only a few seconds, and I've killed. See that STR 9040? Kill a T-72. I know, badass, right? Look, it's about to. Now you see. He's going into action. Look at that. Bam, dead. And notice how I have a lot of units instead of one unit. Also, the good thing about this strategy is that a single airstrike isn't going to take out everything you have, because everything's so cheap. To get these STR 9040s, only 40 points to bring these out. To get the CEV, only 45 points. And the Chieftain, 40 points. And you're seeing it. And there's my Erix. See? Erix just got a kill. CS is stunning. Marta 2 is stunning. Now, the big advantage and the best place to use the combined arms is usually in open areas, because then you can encapsulate and surround your enemy. However, you're not going to be able to stay in open at all times, so your effectiveness goes down when your units aren't in line of sight of each other, so they can kill anything in front of them. So, we're going to end it here. This is just an example of what this deck can do. And we'll leave it at that. Now, mind you, later this game, this guy pushes me back. And, well, I think that was because I didn't take up a good enough position. See, in this forest here, I had my CEVs and stuff. I should have been moving out my units into this area so I could get a good crossfire on those tanks. But it is how. Anyways, I'll see you in the armory. Hello guys, this is MuffinMan. Now we're in the armory. This is Nato Mech, so it's international mechanized, and we're gonna explore what I put in this deck and why it works. So, I just have an infantry command, always have infantry commands. They don't die to cluster, they're harder to spot, you can just turn off their guns, and usually, sometimes recon will just walk right by them, they won't see them. I also have a mechanized command. Now, that's just there so I have more commands. I could get more infantry commands, but having a mechanized command does have its advantages. It's faster, it can go 110 on a road, it's armored, so an HE shell won't kill it as easily. But I usually don't end up using these unless I've used up all my infantry commands. Now, I got a fob, and I got a caddy. Now, the problem here is that I don't have a helicopter supply, which is very helpful. In fact, I would consider taking out this fob or this, M577G, but it just ends up I need all these, so I just stick to not having a helicopter supply. It sucks sometimes, but you can deal with it with some micro. So now we're going to go into the meat of my deck, my infantry section. So we're going to start from the left to right. Now, Jaegers. Oh baby, Jaegers. It's a classic. They've been a good unit since European escalation. Just look at that MG3. Put them in the building and they'll mow down anything coming at them. Or you can use them as cannon fodder. I recommend both. They're just a good all-around unit, and they only cost 15 points if you take them in this transport. So, on to the full Series 90. Only 20 points for this unit. It's so good. You get a 22 AP rocket, 70% hit chance, and you get 2 decent guns. All for the price of 15 points, and in total 20 points. It's a good standard unit to have around. So, there's that. Now, Mistrals. Mistrals are the best man pads in the game, and there's not much else to say. You got 26-25 range with the missile, 60% chance to hit, 2100 range with the airplanes, and they have 5 HE power. So all around, really good units. The Milan F2. Now, I've had some bad experience with the Milan F2s, but they do their job, which is just shoot ATGMs over long distances when you need the ATGMs. So, I get them. They're good. Now, one of my, I would have to say this is almost my favorite unit in the deck, the ERIX. Now, 1050 range, 60% accuracy, 25 AP power, 2 HE power. Only costs 20 points. Yeah, that's a bit overpowered by anybody's standards. It's really good. It kills infantry and tanks like it's nothing, and it creates like a large part of the combined arms effect that we just saw, because it'll kill hard targets and soft targets. Now, the Rifleman 90. Why did I get them? I got them for the 35-point TOW 2 launcher. That's why I got them. So anyway, 26-25 range, 70% accuracy, 25 AP power. You can't beat that. Just for 35 points. Folks, don't get the ATGM vehicles, just get yourself a Bradley, for God's sakes. Now, I usually don't start out with these, because I have the ERIX, the Blonde, and other units at the start. It's just cheaper to use these two, more effective. But I bring these out later if I want a ATGM on the vehicle, So, these guys I do use in my start. Why? Because of the STRF 9040. Used to be the best, the best IFV in the game, but the Martyr 2 took its place. 4 front armor, 3 side, so it's really heavily armored, just for 25 points, mind you. You got 1925 range for ground, 1575 for helicopters, 60% accuracy, 35% stabilizer so that I can fire on the move, and 3 AP power. That's really good, and it's faster shooting than the Bushmaster on top of all this. So I recommend using this, And then on top of that, this unit isn't bad. Their main point is they got a good LMG and a good, Carl Gustav. So that's the big sell point for this. Now onto the side of the Boontai 90. Same with these guys. Really good, really good, not really good LMG, but a decent, they're just infantry. There's nothing else to say out there, infantry, but they also have a really good carrier. It's got an ATGM, it's got a good autocannon. Is it the same as this one? Nope. But it's really good regardless. I just have it because decent IFE. Now, the SAS I haven't used yet, personally. But when you look at it, you can see the uses. They have a Stinger, 50%, 5 HE power. They got a good AT-4 rocket, 45% to hit, 19 AP power, and they shoot really fucking fast with their M16s. And they're elite on top of all that. So they're just a good all-around unit. It's strengthening your ranks. As I said, I haven't used them. Now, you're going to be like, whoa, 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 where's all your AA? Why do you just got this and this? What's up with that? Well, oh, I can see it now. Okay. So the ADATs. The ADATs. This thing can fire both air units and ground units. 2,800 for ground units. I'm pretty sure that's the largest radius for ATGM in this game, aside from the helicopter launched ones. 3,150 helicopter range. Ho baby, really good. 2,450 range for airplanes. Not bad, not bad. 45% accuracy. Now, people are going to be like, but whoa, all this money for 45% accuracy. Now, I know that may be a bit disconcerting, but don't let it trick you. This unit kills a lot. I've had one ADATS kill 2 Akulas at the same time, and then switch on to a Su-24M bomber and fucking blast it out of sky like it was going out of style. That 7 HE is a big deal for the ADATs, because if you want a helicopter rush stopper, and if all the helicopters are grouped up, ADATs will fuck them. So now we're going to get onto the Chaparral, the best anti-helicopter unit for NATO. You got 3,325 range for helicopters, 50% accuracy, 6 HE power, and on top of that, 2625 range for airplanes. It'll shoot down almost anything, and it's infrared. The ADATs in the Chaparral cannot be targeted by seed airplanes. That's what's great about them. You don't have to micro them, you just gotta keep them alive. So that's that. Now, I don't get any more AA because I don't need it. I got CAS, I can just continually buy these and they'll shoot airplanes all day like it was nothing. And on top of it, I don't have to worry about micromanaging my radar. There's a lot of advantages to radar, but as I've gone along, I have found out that micromanaging radar isn't worth it unless it's a Patriot. That's just an area. Patriot's crazy. So now onto my artillery. Now the M2070 LRM, really good rocket battery. Now some of you may be asking why I don't have cluster rocket arty. Well, that's because I can't get cluster rocket arty, but this is as good, if not sometimes better, than cluster rocket arty, because it kills both tanks and infantry with that huge HE power. The dispersion's really good too, so over a long range, it'll be spot on. It really wears down enemy targets. Like, if you know the enemy's in this force, just take out your M270 LRM, just freaking blast that forest, and the enemy will not want to attack for a while. So, it's a good unit, good suppressive unit, and that's why I have it. I use it quite often. Now, I haven't gotten to using there. I haven't gotten to using the Panzer H M10, M109A3G A1. That's a mouthful. But it's really good. It's a AMX Offie on a M10 chassis. You got 24,500 range, 540, 60 meters of dispersion, and 7 HE power. Now the big deal with these is these are saturation fire artillery pieces. They're howitzers, and they do their job well. I've used 80 point M109s of only like 7,000 or 6,000 or some crazy dispersion number, and only like 6 or 5 HE power, and they just decimate anything I aim it out. They're really good. So these are upgrade, and they're really good too. Now the M106A2. I love this mortar. I use it when I can. You can really annoy people with it. It's good all around, and you can get them in huge numbers. Now onto the tank section. So the Chieftain Mark II, the T-72 of NATO. You got 1925 range, 40% accuracy, 15% stabilizer, and 13 AP power. On top of this, you got 11 front armor. Now the big deal and the big problem and disadvantage of the Chieftain Mark II is where areas it might be cheap, it's really slow and doesn't have the best autonomy, but it works, and I make it work, and it goes great with my pushes. So on to the next unit, the M1IP Abrams. That stands for Improved Abrams, and the thing improved about this Abrams is the frontal armor. That is an M1A1 rated armor right there. The only difference between the M1A1 and this tank is the fact that there's 2 less side armor. But oh baby, does this thing work and chug-a-lug. Perfect tank for any deck. It's good mid-tier. And onto the Leopard 2A1, the most cost-effective tank in NATO, I would have to say. You got 2200 range, 65% accuracy, 55% stabilizer, 18 AP power, and 3 HE power. I don't know why I just read that, but I did. It has 1 less armor than the M1IP Abrams, but it has a really good gun, and it's just really good, and it's got the MG3. The MG3 is always a plus. You got speed of 70 kilometers an hour, really good autonomy. Seriously, there's nothing to hate about this tank. Cost effective, kills almost anything. Take it any day. So now, onto the recon section. This is Cavalry Scouts. A really good unit to have around. It has those Dragon 2s so they can actually shoot stuff at a distance. And it's a recon at the same time. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's just, it's good. It works out. You'll kill armored vehicles with it and be spotting shit at the same time. So anyways, the Fuchs. The Fuchs. 35 points for a really good recon. 85 kilometers an hour. It's got some armor. It's got an autocannon, MG3. It's just it's a good workhorse. And good for any pusher. Start out. The Fallschirmjäger. I think that sounds sort of like the Fallschirmjäger, but it's different. Anyways, this is a Swedish recon. They got the Carl Gustav, really good fire rates, and they're shock infantry, and they run pretty fast, 25 kilometers an hour. Now, they're just regular recon. Other than that, they got very good stuff, very good optics. I use them for going into the backs of enemy bases and stuff like that, and I don't use them for much else. They're a good recon unit, though. The Kiowa is a really good helicopter. If you want to see an area really fast at the start, just get this. Has very good optics, has a minigun on it. It's good. It's good. Now, the Fuchs AI is just an improved version of, not the Fuchs, the Lux. Oh my god, I just realized I did that. Anyways, the Lux. I think the autonomy's changed a bit by 50, It's amphibious, of course. I don't think I mentioned that before. Both versions are. And the autocannon's the same, I think. Nope, that's a 10% increase in accuracy. Yes, it is. And it still has the MG3 on it. But the good thing about it is very good optics. That's pretty nice. And medium stealth. So that's that. So now, onto my third favorite unit. The M163CS. Ho 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 ho. This thing shoots at everything and anything and stuns and destroys. It is a Terminator. That's the only way I can describe it. You got 1575 range on the ground, 1575 range on helicopters, 1400 on airplanes. The best way to think of this thing is it's first a ground support unit and second an anti-air battery. They sometimes get to use their gun for anti-air roll, but it doesn't happen often. But when it does, they do a decent job regardless because of that crazy fire rate. So you have a suppression of 92. Now realize some bombers have a suppression of 102 with their bomb loads. Think about that. Think about all the suppression this thing unloads on a daily basis. It is crazy, folks. So, the CEV, my favorite unit in this deck. Oh, I cannot get enough. And you know, there's gonna be a thing I'll change just because I'm trying out. But I wanna try these out veteran. But anyways, I just want the accuracy up. It's not going to be up by much, but it'll be up. Anyways, 50 meters of ground range. That's basically an equivalent to an ATGM, folks. 25% accuracy. Well, there's a reason for that. When we look at the HE power, if it was any more accurate, it would be more overpowered than it is. Usually I start out with 2 CEVs and they just pound tanks and infantry to little bits and pieces. Now in real life, I don't think the CEV would not be used in this role. The CEV is part of the combat engineers. This is a combat engineer vehicle, so it's meant for taking out minefields, buildings, bridges, you know, stuff like that. And it basically shoots a block of C4 out of its cannon. That's right, a block of C4. Now, in real life, this vehicle would not have 50 meters of range. That would be just crazy. It would not hit targets that accurately as it does. But it could be used in some ways, like taking out an infantry position or something. But at that point, there's no point in using this. Like, you could use TOWs or Vulcans or other stuff. You don't need to use this. But in this game, this thing is king. So, we got the crazy gun. Okay, we got the crazy gun. I look at that frontal armor. Oh, baby. Look at that autonomy. Yeah. It does some work. It does some dirty, dirty work. So, we're going to move on to the Zippo. It's a flame tank, or more like a flame carrier. It's amphibious, that's why I got this instead of the tank version of the Zippo. It goes 65 kilometers, has a decent autonomy, and it's napalm. It's napalm in a little package. What else can I say? For only 20 points. Same with CWS, only 20 points. Same with the ERIX, only 20 points. And you're seeing a pattern here of just very cheap units that do a lot of damage when combined together. So anyways, onto my helicopter section. I just have a Cobra, just a 45-point Cobra to stun and kill tanks or infantry. It isn't meant to be much more than what it is, which is just some CAS. So now, on to my air tap. There isn't much here. We have the Block 52 air superiority fighter. It's got 4 ARAMs, 2 aim 9s and a Vulcan cannon on it. It has 90 seconds in the air, 1,000 kilometers, exceptional air detection, and 40% ECM. It's a really good interceptor, in other words, and if you need to keep some B5s off your back, have one of these up in the air at all times. Just have one always patrolling, the other in reserve, and you'll be doing good. Now, I have the SK-60B, or as referred to somebody I used to know, Odin's cock. Yes. 2 M-class missiles. It isn't laser guided. These aren't JDAMs, and they miss about 50% of the time, but they do their job. They can fire precision, and they'll do alright sometimes. So anyways, 2975 meters of range, 10 HE power, 400 suppression. It's a good cast unit, and it's something that you're going to be using more in the beginning than towards the end. It's really solid. So 600 kilometers an hour and has 0% ECM. So you're not going to rely on this thing to save your ass. So anyways, that's the Nato Mech Deck. Thoughts about it. The effect I've seen with this deck and the way I use it is that I'm always pushing. I'm always pushing, and I don't stop. Usually. The other effect I notice using this deck is usually my kill to death ratio is on even terms, as in my positive ratios aren't that high, so maybe I'll have, usually it's an average of only 100 points positive, but on the plus side, you're going to be pushing your enemy really hard most of the time. Your enemy isn't going to be able to stop your momentum with 2 or even 3 airstrikes if you space yourself accordingly. And most of the time you don't have airstrikes happening at the beginning of the game, and you'll be able to take out any tank, and I mean any tank, because your CEVs have 2,450 meters of range, and they'll hit that Moderna or that T-80UM, and they'll be stunned, and then you'll have your M1IP Abrams or your Erixes or your Milan F2s fucking blasting that thing back into the Stone Age. The entire point of this deck is to have so many units that if you lose one, you don't lose your kill capability. Your kill capability is evenly distributed, and your momentum is a constant. So you'll lose a lot, but you'll be gaining land. That's the point of this deck. Do I think this is the best deck? Well, in my opinion, the way I use it and I've done it, it's the most fun deck I've had. I don't think it's the best deck, nor the best way, but you'll usually win 9 out of 10 times on your side, I found. So, thoughts? Comments? Don't leave a like. Hate me. I don't listen. So, that's really all I have to say about this deck. Yeah, it's just a really good deck. The most fun deck I've played in a while. And personally, I prefer these decks over any deck. So anyways, this is the DattMuffinMan signing off. I hope this helps you guys in understanding some new strategies that work, and I'll see you